All right, everyone, this is Gilberto from Maverick Media Lab, and I am here with our guest, Dylan Estes. He's a branch manager with NEXA Mortgage, and he absolutely crushes it when it comes to getting referral partners. From the very first call that I had with him, it was very clear that he knew his stuff and he had a system in place for predictably and very consistently acquiring realtor partners. He's doing about $1 million a month just from his referral partners alone. And he's out of Missouri and he is absolutely crushing, you guys. So I want him to really lay out for you guys some very actionable steps and stuff that you guys can walk away from, whether you're seeing this on our YouTube or from our Facebook group. I think you're going to get a ton of value from this. So Dylan, take it away, man. Just kind of give us a little bit of intro about who you are, man, and how you got started in mortgages.
Awesome. Thanks, Gilberto. I appreciate it, my man. So Dylan Estes, I'm the branch manager out of our Kirkwood branch, just outside of St. Louis, Missouri. Been in mortgages for flirting with 4 years now. Was on the retail side of things for a little better than 3 years. And, just the more I understood the way things work, the more I got to perfecting my craft, the more I realized on the retail side, I was leaving a lot on the table, not just for myself, but also my clients. So it became important to me to put myself in the best position to be able to help my clients and be the guy that could go after realtors and referral partners and all that good stuff. And ultimately what I found was when I was with I won't mention names, but my retail company, I wasn't very aggressive in going after realtors and that kind of stuff, because there was a lot of the process that I had to depend on too many other moving parts, that the last thing you want to do is let anybody down or disappoint anybody. So made the switch over to broker back in about March, and it's been the best move I could have possibly made. And it's really cool to be in a position that now I am able to deliver and go after pretty aggressively after realtors and various other referral partners to be able to capture and build my business and build my brand and help build theirs. That's really the biggest thing. That's one thing we really harp on in my branch, and I teach my LOs is, a lot of times when you're prospecting or you're going after realtors, you want to talk about how great you are and what you can do for them. And that's important, but it's all about symbiotic relationships. It's about how can you build together and make something special for the both of you, because at the end of the day, just like as LOs, we get insurance companies and lead providers and this, that, and the next hitting our inboxes. That's who we are to them. So you're not the only LO calling them and just saying how great you are and the products you have. That's the same spiel that everybody's getting them. So it's being able to position yourself that, hey, I even though we haven't met each other, I care about you and I want to help build your business. Wow, you don't have to hide from it. Obviously, you're trying to build your business as well, but it's about that symbiotic growth. That's really what we harp on in my office.
That's so true. Like creating that synergy and creating like a win-win relationship. So it creates like long-term, business for both of you guys.
That's
and
it.
One thing I was curious about. So once you made that switch to the broker route, what got you into like kind of starting going after aggressively with realtors? Like, was it just out of like, once you switched from retail that you just didn't have a way that you had inbound leads coming in, so you were kind of searching around? What was it that kind of got you to utilizing the strategy you have now for getting these referral partners?
Yeah, and so that's the trade-off, right? On retail, you're pretty much spoon-fed your leads. You can handle as much business as just answering the phone as those leads come in or getting on the dialer, in my experience anyway. So yeah, as we switched and I got ready to make that move, I had my book of business. I had built a little bit of a brand for myself, but yeah, very much so. I realized that if I wanted to sustain this and I wanted to have this, nobody wants to make a lateral move, right? You're not trying to make a switch and just stay stagnant and continuing hitting the same numbers. So it was, to answer your question directly, you hit it on the head. Yeah, I knew I had to do something to help put in place that spoon fed. I had to go out and get the business. But what made it to where I was able to is once I made the jump and I realized, oh wow, I really do have the tools and I have the ability, and it's that confidence that comes with it. When working with NEXA, we are the #1 purchase broker in the country. We have some really great products. We have great positioning with a lot of lenders, and our turn times are incredible. So being able to really focus and harp on the things that make us special, and understanding that this is special, and that we are able to deliver on the things that we put out there. Whereas before, if I would have gone after a realtor and it's like, yeah, I can get a loan closed in 30 days. Okay, big whoop. Anybody can get a loan closed in 30 days. Being able to deliver on more than just turn times and that kind of thing the short answer to your question is yep, it was having to substantiate and be able to continue to level up, and then the confidence that came with it, with having the tools that I need to be successful.
Got it. So what I'm hearing is it was a mix of like the tools, but also it sounds like almost like the belief too, like not only just in yourself, but like, what you were like essentially like selling, right? Like the product and service that you were selling, like you now had that 100%. Confidence to be able to go up to any realtor and say like, hey, like I can do this. And like, it's clearly better than, the other competitors out there.
That's it. Yep. Absolutely.
Got it. And then for you, like, talk to me about the strategy that you implement right now and that you teach to your loan officers in your branch for acquiring referral partners. Like, what have you found to be the most effective methods for going out there and consistently being able to foster like really strong referral partnerships with agents?
Yeah, man, it's a go for no mindset, and I can't say I coined that. It was a great book. It's one of the most influential books that I've read. It's called Go for No, and it's when I was on retail, I got to where I would be happy if I hit my goal of getting 10 new deals a week, excuse me. So once I hit that number, if I happen to hit that on like a Wednesday, right? Okay, last 2 days, I'm really not too busy in prospecting. I'm taking care of the back end stuff and pushing files. And that go for no, not being scared to be told no, is the biggest thing I can tell, especially a newer loan officer that's trying to find their way. Is, man, you got to put yourself in uncomfortable. Growth is not comfortable. It's not supposed to be comfortable. If it was, everybody would be doing this. So it's being able to put yourself in those situations and work on your script, work on what you've got going, and being able to, once you hear no, okay, go to the next one, go to the next one, go to the next one. And then what's a no today? The thing about realtors is if they've been doing it for any amount of time, they very likely already have a lender. And like one of the things that we tell lenders, it's really silly and naive if you think you're going to call somebody, especially an experienced big producing agent, hey, I want all your business. They're going to look at you and say, get the hell out of here. No, but any good realtor knows that you got to have, you can't just put your faith in one person. You got to have multiple, but all we want is a seat at the table. And then it's having that confidence. I know if I get at the table and I can show you what I can do after we've done 2 or 3 loans together, I don't care how good your main guy is, you're going to be coming to me more and more and more. So it's that confidence of, hey, just let me get my foot in the door. And if you say no today, then I put all my loan officer assistant, he knows if we hear no today, you respect it, you take it, but you put that note and you circle back in, whether it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever the case is, but you circle back around and continue to stay in front of them until they kick you out, right?
So they'll tell you to get lost,
right?
Take you off the list.
That's putting it nicely.
Yeah, so true. And in terms of like the outreach, like, is it like networking events or like cold calling? What's been like your main form of going out there and making those touch points with the agents?
So agent specifically is typically cold calling. And again, people hear that term cold calling and it makes them cringe, right? But again, it's that mindset of, I'm not, look, if you call 10 people and one of them tells you, yeah, they're willing to sit down and actually further the conversation, that's potentially a $10,000 a month meeting, right? So I'll be told I'll take 100 no's in a row to get that one yes. And it's being able to hit, and what I find a lot of the times with, especially in cold calling, once they hear, to give you the analogy as a LO to make it real, when you hear somebody calling you and they're telling you how great their leads are, or their product is, or they want you to use them for your insurance guy, it's the same thing, man. Like in the back of your head, you're like, oh, another sales call, another pitch. But and this is another thing that I would say as well, that I think we excel at is I switch that mindset. And ultimately, anytime you have somebody that's reaching out to you, that's wanting to better your business. Now, granted, they're trying to sell you something. There's no two ways about it. But if they're truly trying to better your business, take that time and have that conversation, because it's all linear, right? You go after a realtor, they tell you no right now, their LO might piss them off in 2 weeks, or not close a deal on time, or push, or not answer the phone. And then you circle back, and timing is everything. And if you consistently put yourself in front of them, they're going to think of you when those kind of things happen. And it's the same thing when you have somebody calling your phone that is trying to position to better your business. Take that call, take that time, because even if it's something that you already have that piece of your business established and safe, one thing about this industry is tomorrow's a different day. And what's working right now, you might have to adjust. This business is very much about adjustments and having those kind of relationships. So definitely, I encourage, especially newer LOs. And well, you know what? Let me retort that. Not even especially experienced LOs, because I think we get into this mindset of, oh, I'm already producing 2 million a month. Oh, I'm already at 3 million a month. I don't need any help. I don't need any. Yeah, you do. And if nothing else, you may not need it right now, but that adjustment period, I can just about guarantee at some point you're going to have to make an adjustment. If you can circle back and say, oh, what was that guy's name I spoke to that had that one program, and you can reach back out to him, it's nothing but a benefit to you and your business for sure.
Wow. Yeah, that's so I've seen that with experienced LOs as well. Like they kind of like think they have it all down, and like they're not really like up to speed with certain things that really can like elevate their business. Because yeah, like you said, like every month, like it seems like there's like new things that come out that can really like help someone like automate or delegate or do something that'll just like, even on the technology side, new LOS or CRM or something like that, it can really like help speed things up. And some aren't really as aware because they're not really open to exploring those things.
And that's the thing is when you're in the business of hitting zero, starting back at zero every month, then you got to have that mindset of I'm at zero every month, and constantly push for betterment. And when you have somebody that's trying to give you the tools, and look, there's no such thing as a free lunch. That's just the way that it is. But if you have those people that are going to help you elevate your business, I couldn't encourage. That's why I was able to find the success I was able to find so quickly and so rapidly after starting my branch, is because anytime I have somebody that's trying to help me build my business, I've got 15 minutes, 20 minutes for anybody. And now I have not just it. Look, my realtor partners are strong. And you know, the thing is we take a mindset. I'll tell you what's funny, because you asked about cold calling. Yes, for realtors, cold calling, but it doesn't just have to be realtors. Like if you're good at what you do, just a couple of weeks ago, I had to get new tires on my truck, right? And I went into the deal thinking, okay, I just need a front end alignment, whatever. I get in, and of course, you know how the mechanic is. He's like, sorry, man, these tires are kind of trash. You need new tires. I don't know if I agreed with him, but I'm not a mechanic, so I took his word for it. And it ended up costing me what I thought was going to be about $150. It cost me $500. Well, before I left out, you know, I made a point. Hey, I went to the owner of the shop. Thank you for taking care of me. I feel like you treated me fair. I really appreciate that. Here's my card. If you ever need any help on a mortgage or you need advice, reach out to me. Give me a call. You know, 2 days later, he called me and said, hey, my secretary is looking for a house. Do you think you can help her? And she's in contract now. So that $500 I spent on tires was flipped into, it's going to be like a $2,500 commission. You got to always be prospecting. And I know that's a corny cliche term in sales, but it's the truth, man. If you can position yourself when you're getting a service done, my goal for not just myself, but for my office is we are going to be the #1 purchase broker in the St. Louis region, using the same tools that NEXA did on a nationwide scale, but also that mindset that, hey, you know, when you have the best, you can position yourself in just about any interaction to gain business. So it's opening that scale up that, look, obviously realtors are the lifeblood. You got to have good realtor partners that you can depend on and trust. But you know, you can position yourself into, whether it's the mechanic, the server at the restaurant, or anything in between, your doctor, when you go talk to the doctor, you know, be throwing your card, man. Make those connections and make sure that you're the person in your community that people think of when it comes time to get a mortgage.
Wow. Yeah. What really stands out is like, not just like your mindset, like what you mentioned, the go for no, and also starting from zero. Kind of seems like some big pillars on your mindset there, but also just like the hustle to just go in there, not just go after realtors, but go after, like, you know, I'm sure even like attorneys and other professionals would be really good too. And even, you know, like the waitress or just people you come across, is just letting them know
I love that you
what you
said,
do.
I love that you said attorneys and that kind of stuff, because one of my LOs, he's actually one of the best guys I've ever met in my life. His whole thing, we do a lot of non-QM, and he has a bankruptcy attorney. Like, who's thinking about bankruptcy attorneys? You know what I mean? And like, that's one of his main sources of business, because you get people that are going through, do I file for bankruptcy? What are my options here? And this guy sends him like 3-4 leads a week.
Wow.
Yeah. And I've never, until he talked to me about that, I'd never heard a LO talk about going after bankruptcy attorneys. Right. So, and you know, that's really the thing, is we call it a grind over hustle. Hustling, you're trying to get the advantage. You're trying to get the upper hand on somebody. Grinding, when you grind for somebody, man, you're trying to get the best for that person. And when you really take that mindset that, trying to put them in the best position, that it comes back to you tenfold, man, because those are the kind of things that people appreciate, and that ultimately, when their mom's looking for a loan, or whoever it may be in their network, I got a guy, you know.
Perfect. I love it, man. Talk to me about, like, you mentioned before, you know, starting the interview here, that you have just recently you got a realtor that you partnered with in Miami, which you're in Missouri, so you're like on another part of the country. Right. You have other realtors that are in other parts of the US. And for me, I talk to a lot of mortgage brokers, loan officers, and one of the things that they commonly bring up to me is like, hey, like, you know, realtors, they only work with someone who's local. They don't really want anyone that's like outside, much less outside of the US. Right. But here you are, like, you have like realtors all over, multiple. So talk to me about like how you were able to achieve that, and what advice you would give to people that think that realtors only want local lenders.
Yeah, it's almost kind of, it goes hand in hand with that scarcity mindset. And Eddie Perez, the president and CEO of EMP Mortgage, was just at a conference here recently, and he said scarcity mindset is what he meant specifically, is for losers. And you know, basically 90% of the things that you worry about aren't real, are never going to come to fruition. And again, that go for no mindset. You can't give yourself an out before you even get yourself in. And what I mean by that is taking that, I'm in St. Louis, Missouri, right smack dab in the middle of the country. And as you alluded to, I've got realtors in North Carolina, I've got realtors in Texas, I've got realtors in Florida, I've got realtors in Colorado. I'm all spread out because they know that I'm going to handle business, I'm going to do right by them, and I'm going to communicate with them throughout the entire process. Specifically, the realtor that you're mentioning in Florida, it's a funny story. I have one of my favorite clients that I've ever had the pleasure to work with. She was moving from Colorado. Her husband passed away, so she was moving from cold Colorado down to Florida. And you know, I get her pre-approved, get everything put in motion. I'm excited to help her. She gets down there, and her realtor tells her, hey, we only work with, if you want what he said was, if you want your offer accepted, you need to use a local lender. And all this unbeknownst to me, right? So she's shopping, and I'm up to par with what the plan is, up until she actually gets in contract. And then she reached out to me about a week into her contract and was like, Dylan, I don't know what's going on. And it was a retail company. I can't get a hold of my LO. He won't answer the phone. He won't answer my emails, this, that, and the next. I need you to take over. And I gave her a little bit of a hard time for leaving me without even talking to me, but was able to pick that up. Told her no problem. We don't even have to move the close date. We're gonna get this thing closed on time, and we're gonna make this happen the right way. Well, when I called that realtor, he was really reluctant to speak to me. He saw the 314 area code come up. She had already sent an email, and I was CC'd on the email, and so was the other loan officer. Actually, it was kind of funny, saying, "Hey, I'm switching lenders." And when I call him, it was his guy. It was his LO. That's who he wants to use because that's who he's in bed with, right? And so he says, Dylan, I'm really reluctant to go through with this. I don't have any power. He can't steer her. He can't tell her she can't use me, but he did everything short of that. And he said, it really just comes down to, a lot of times, out of state lenders, out of area lenders, they come up short. And I said, man, I get exactly, it's the same thing I tell my clients. LOs, we have a tendency to, on that open and call, act like we're the greatest thing since sliced bread, promise the moon just to deliver Swiss cheese. And I assured him, that's not the case here, man. Like, look, at the end of the day, especially in this instance, I know my client. I'm not doing this for you, but I'm going to set this expectation for you that the biggest piece that I think a lot of LOs leave off is that communication piece. And where a lot of times, especially when you're out of state, it's easy to, if the deal goes sideways, to just act like it didn't happen, right? But I told him that's not how we do business here. And that ultimately, regardless of what the situation is, whatever it's real estate, right? So I've closed quite a bit. I can count on one hand how many times I had a loan, whether it was a purchase or a refi, go without any kind of issues whatsoever. Doesn't matter how much you do on the front end, how much game plan you put in, it's real estate. There's gonna be your client goes and gets a new auto loan or whatever the case is, that you have to make that pivot and you have to adjust for. And so as we're going through it, in this case, everything's going real smooth. Everybody's experienced, especially over the last year, the appraisal situation. Appraisal took forever to get out there and get it done. And then when he does, it comes back like $40,000 short. And, where I think a lot of LOs at that point would have been like, oh, this loan's dead. All right, well, we got to get back on the market and start shopping. I called our guy. I explained to him what was going on. I called the listing agent who actually was selling their house. Realtors always think their houses, even though they do it for a living, they always think their houses are worth more. Every single time I've ever been on the buying side of a realtor's house, it's always come up short. Explained it to her and, just laid it out like, hey, your home is only way. I get that you think it's worth this. I get that you put all this into it, but at the end of the day, this is the only report we have. And we can, if you want to, we can go ahead and order another appraisal, but it's going to come back in the same ballpark. Or, ultimately, we're stretched out. This is where the deal is, and this is what it's going to take to get it to close. And that thing closed in the next week. And then what was really funny about it is the realtor that told me on that call, I don't trust out-of-state lenders. He called me about 3 weeks ago, and I'll be closing his personal refinance in about a week. It's delivering on what you set on that first call, and it's being true to your word. And if you can do that, you take that scarcity mindset out. It doesn't matter where you are in the country. If you want to focus on a different area, the thing is it just comes down to, again, go for no. You might call and that objection, oh, hey, we don't work with out-of-state lenders. Why? Oh, because I did it once and da da da. Okay, well, that wasn't me. Look, go to my website, read my reviews. This is the level of service that I bring to the table, and this is why I deserve your business. And you know what? Furthermore, I'm going to help you close more loans. I'm going to help you close loans quicker. I'm going to make you look like a rock star so that we can, again, to allude back to the whole point, symbiotically grow. I can help you come up. You're going to help me come up, and ultimately we're going to grow together. And it's a pretty tough thing to turn away from.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I love that you brought up like how you communicate with the realtors. That was actually my next question. When it comes to when you meet with the realtors for the first time, whether it's a phone call or whatever it might be, in-person lunch meeting, like what are some best practices that you found for, turning Now, obviously there's not 100%, but like, you know, really increasing chances in your favor of that realtor to end up working with you?
Well, I'll be honest with you. The first meeting, whether it's on the phone or in person, it doesn't mean shit, because ultimately they're going to tell you, especially if they've agreed to meet with you, you go through that meeting, and when you hit it off, you know, they're going to tell you, oh yeah, we're everything sounds good, and this, that, and the next. I always hit their pain points. One of the questions I'll ask them is, you know, if you could change anything about the mortgage world, what would it be? Not your current mortgage lender, what would it be? 9 times out of 10, it's communication. So I set that expectation. Hey, in my office, you know, once I've got the borrower pre-approved, we call, we kind of introduce ourselves if they've already got a realtor. If they don't, we try to pair with one that we're already working with and we're comfortable with. That being said, I want to be perfectly clear. One thing we don't do is I never tell a realtor, hey, I'm going to send you a client, because that's not my value. You know, we're all commission. We all have this deal that we're trying to generate business. My job is to help you close more deals. That your job is to go out and get clients and build your book of business. My job is to close that for you. That being said, when I have somebody and I have a realtor that is sending me 3, 4, 5, 6 opportunities a month, of course I'm going to try to again send them the same opportunity when we have that relationship. But I do want to make that distinction. I think a lot of times, especially with younger LOs, they go into the conversation with, oh, well, I'll send you all my business, or, oh, I'll make sure I get you the X. Don't promise that. Don't say that, because that's not where your value is. And the fact of the matter is, there are more real estate agents in this country than there are houses for sale. A good real estate agent needs a good LO a whole lot more than a good LO needs a good real estate agent. And that's just facts, you know? So when you go in with that mindset that they really do truly need you, then all I do is I lay out, here's the programs I have. This is what I can do for you here. You ever had how long does it take you to get a TBD approval? It takes me about 2 weeks. Okay, what if I told you I could get you that in an hour? What? No way. And then I show them right there on the spot. Boom, this is what that looks like. And then once I ask that question on what would you change if you could about your current lender, and they say communication, almost inevitably, I set that expectation. Once I get your borrower pre-approved, I'm going to call you. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to send you this on a group email. I use Mortgage Coach. So and if you're not familiar with that, I highly recommend checking it out. Once I send that estimate over, I make sure I shout that realtor out. Hey, you know, we're so lucky to be working with Rose, and she's a rock star. And even if we've never even closed a loan together, she's one of the best in the business, and there's nobody else I couldn't have handpicked a better realtor for you, you know, and really make that realtor shine. And then from there, once they go, because really when the borrower's shopping, you don't want to just fall off the map, but there's not a whole lot you can do other than checking in. Hey, how's the home search going? What tools do you need? Anything I can do to help you? Blah, blah, blah. Once they get in contract, once a week, minimum once a week, we're calling and we're not only updating our buyer side, but also the seller side to make sure that level of communication is being hit on our brand. And it's funny, man, when we call listing agents or the seller side, when we get into contract, we call the seller side, hey, I just want to let you know, I have zero concerns about this. I've taken the liberty of already having this pre-approved or sent through an underwriter, whatever the case is. Dylan, I've never had a loan officer call me before from the buying side. And then what's crazy is once you get that loan closed and you meet those expectations, now you just got a 2-for-1. Now that listing agent, they're thinking of you, because that's not typical, you know? So it's really that communication piece is huge. And if you can harp on that, it turns a lot. But the reason I say that first phone call, that first business meeting doesn't mean anything is because if you're painting this picture of you're the greatest thing and blah, 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 of course they're going to be like, and we always ask for the business, hey, is there anybody I can show you how great I can do right now? And sometimes it's a yeah, sometimes it's, let me look through my book business, whatever the case is. But then it's that follow-up. It's staying in front of them. It's not depending on them to remember you, because the fact of the matter is people don't think about us as much as we'd like to think that they think about us. So it's being on that top of mind, positioning yourself right back in front of them and making a point. I send a bomb out. about 3 days after the meeting. Hey, it was so great meeting with you. Appreciate you for grabbing lunch, whatever the case was. Just wanted to let you know this is what we're doing in the office. Oh, I've got this new program going, whatever the case is, to kind of incentivize them, but more than anything to make sure that they're thinking of me the next time that they have that client come in the door.
Love it. And apart from BombBomb, which I've heard other of my lender clients that have also used that and gotten great results with, apart from that, like, are there other things too that you found to be effective, like creative ways of following up with the agents after that initial meeting?
You know, I try to be as cost effective as I can, especially when it's not an agent that is sending me business.
Right.
So I've heard of lenders, you know, after they meet, they'll send a, not necessarily a bouquet, but the likes of, right, free Starbucks gift card. About, man, you don't have to buy realtors. Again, it's having that mindset that if you're good at what you do, or you strive to be good at what you do, and you follow these things, and you have this mindset of you're a winner and you're going to win, they need you a whole lot more than you need them. So it's just my follow-up game is I have my assistant. If after my BombBomb, if I still haven't heard, then my assistant will follow up with them. Hey, you know, we just want to touch base. Dylan's notes here said you guys had a great meeting. We haven't seen any opportunity come from you. Is there anybody we can help you with now? Do you have a list of dead leads, you know, 6-month-old leads that you were working with back then that we can call through and see if we can get somebody on the hook for you? You know, and once you can't do that without them meeting you, but once they've sat down and they met with me, they know that they can trust that if we go through a 6-month-old aged lead, they're going to get that back, because in their head, they're concerned about sending their client list over to a lender and then you just taking it and sending it over here. No, man, it's going right back to you, but let's see if we can drum up some business and do something a little bit differently. So that's one thing that we have found success with is if you're not hitting the goal that you're trying to with a particular realtor, then ask them. Just ask for the business. If they're not giving you the business, then force the business and say, hey, you know, I see the production you're doing. I know you're kicking ass. Do you have a list of clients that maybe from 6 months ago, a year ago, whatever the case is, that you have in your CRM that sends emails that are not getting open, then maybe I can call through them and see if we can drum up some business out of there. And if you can take that list and you get them to somebody that they haven't been thinking about because it's a year ago, 6 months ago, 3 months ago, that's gold, man. That's huge.
Love it, man. So that sounds like that's part of like your unique value proposition as well, right? Like being able to add value in those ways of calling up the old list of leads or like you mentioned, the list of past clients, so that you can start like getting some deals over to them, which is like something that not a lot of mortgage brokers would be willing to do or not how to do, using like technology and all that stuff to make it more effective.
Right. Absolutely.
Awesome. When it comes to the meeting and the follow-up, like what else do you think most mortgage brokers and just most mortgage professionals get wrong about like I know you mentioned some, but what are some other things that you think that they get wrong about meeting with the realtors and then like the follow-up that happens after?
Not doing it, I think, is the biggest thing, is not doing it. I think it goes back to what I mentioned a moment ago, that I'll just say, call it what it is. I have never met a loan officer that wasn't full of themselves, right? We're for the most part pretty arrogant people. We think and I'm not trying to beat us up, because you got to have that mindset, especially when you're in 100% commission, that you're generating your own business. You got to have that mindset of I'm the shit. But at the same time, people don't think about you like you like to think that they think about you. So just having a great meeting one time, again, that you're not the only LO that's calling that realtor. You're probably not the only LO that's had a kick-ass meeting with that realtor. So that follow-up piece is so key, because you can leave a meeting. I have left meetings going, man, I'm gonna get all this business. I know I've got this business. And then especially as I was first figuring it out, 3 weeks, nothing happens. And then once you put yourself back in front of them, that's where you start to get the opportunities. And the fact of the matter is, when they're filling you out, you think they're going to fill you out with a $500,000, 800 credit score, 20% down client? Hell no, they're not. They're going to give you the bottom of the barrel. Hey, let's see what you can do. Let's see if you're really as great as you say you are. And that, I will say, especially as a broker, that's one of the things that I position myself with, but I also explain a little bit further. Look, I can get a loan closed in a CTC from submission, and it's not uncommon for me when I go through UWM to get that in 7 days. 3 days is not. But if you send me somebody with a 580 credit score, I can't take them to UWM. You're not going to get that experience. You send me somebody with a 580 credit score, we're going to go through another lender. I only use good lenders that I can trust, but it's not that same experience. So one mistake I would make early is I would have that conversation with them of, oh, I can get a CTC in 3 to 7 days. And then they'd send me over 580 and we'd be a week and a half into it. And they'd be like, I thought you said, no, man, not when we go through this lender, and kind of break it down. So that's another thing that, again, it comes down to communication. I make sure
the expectations. Yeah.
That realistic expectation that ultimately, and with each in particular client is that, hey, on this one, this is probably what we're looking at. This is who we're going to go through. This is what we can expect. And just really making sure that they understand the process and everything else. And they're going to appreciate that tenfold.
Yeah. As you go through like a lot of stuff that you've been like sharing with me right now and with the audience here, like it's very clear that you've worked a lot on yourself on like the mindset side of things. Like you mentioned certain things that I'm very familiar with, like kind of in that abundance mindset, going from a no. It's very apparent that you're working on yourself, and then not just like mindset, but also this, no problem. And the skill set side of things too. Like you mentioned bomb and a lot of things. So it sounds to me that like you've taken the time to invest in yourself and really like go in there and kind of take a bet on yourself. So like, talk to me a little bit about that. Like, have you has this come from like reading books, like mentorships, like coaches? Where have you kind of grown this skill set and mindset that you have now?
Yeah, it's so I'm a father of two. I got a beautiful wife. I have my degree in psychology. After I graduated college, my first job, I was making $17,000 a year with $60,000 in student loans. I'm a pretty humble guy. Well, despite being an LO, right? I don't want for much. So I was happy with that. And then I met my wife. She's a humble person. We were good with that. We moved up here. Missouri pays a little bit better than it did in Alabama. So I was making like 30, 35,000 a year, and that was all well and good. And then once we had my first son, it changed everything. Now all of a sudden, no, I need more. No, I need more. Not for me, but for him. And so that's kind of how I got into mortgages, was after I had my boy, and realized to give him the life that I want him to have and that he deserves. And now with my second, the same thing. I had to put myself, look, America is designed for entrepreneurship. America rewards not just entrepreneurship, but people that are willing to do just that, invest in themselves and aren't scared, that understand that it takes $1 to make $3, right? So it's being able to constantly put yourself in that position that growth is not comfortable. And when I first got into the industry, it was in early 2018. Rates were starting to tick up. I watched loan officers that had been doing it for umpteen years starting to leave and go in to do other things. And my manager at the time, he left. He went to a different company, and he called me before he officially left. I'd only been doing it for about 2 months. And he said, Dylan, you got what it takes. You're gonna be really good at what you do, but you have to continue this grind. Because I would get there. The branch didn't officially open till 9. I would get there at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning and just start prepping for the day. Then I'd be on the phone literally all day. And there were nights, because we were in all 50 states. So I would stay until 11, 12 o'clock when it's only 6, 7, 8 o'clock over in Hawaii. And I'm trying to get big loan. I'm constantly moving through, and I use the term fail up. Man, you want to talk about go for no. I got told no more times than I can count, but it was being able to be humble enough to realize that especially because it was more or less a call center. So that was a huge thing, being able to hear guys that had been doing it for 5, 6, 10, 15, whatever years, and you listen to their pitch, you kind of study, ooh, I like that. Ooh, I don't know that you should have said that. Ooh, and craft my own. But really it comes down to, look, there's enough business for all of us. There really is. And so it's putting yourself in a position that you can craft yours based off of what's already working, and then personalizing it, and then not being satisfied. So a lot of the times, especially when I was first starting out, I still do, on my drive to work, where a lot of people want to listen to that album that they've heard 100 times. I'm playing things like Eric Thomas. I'm playing things like just different motivational.
Some Tony Robbins.
That's it, exactly. And like really getting in and getting prepped for, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right, and I'm not going to be satisfied. And it was really cool. The first year, I more than doubled my income. The second year, I doubled that. The third year, I doubled that. And this year, I don't know that I'll double, but it should be at least 1.25, if not 1.5 times the income from what I made last year. And it's there. A lot of times, I think we have this thing where complacency, right? You get in, you get good at what you're doing, especially when the business starts coming to you, but you can't, because we don't know what. I just read something earlier today that 33% of loan officers right now will be out of the industry by next year, because there's some predictions that rates are going to hit 4. I don't have a crystal ball, but I don't worry about those things, because again, that's scarcity mindset. And if you build your business right, you build it with the right, it's all about the people. You build it with the right people that you can depend on and you can trust, and you guys are truly building something special together, then I don't care if rates are 15%. I know how to sell. I know how to add benefit, and people aren't going to stop buying houses. And you know what? Quite frankly, if interest rates got up that high, where do you think credit card rates are going to be? There's going to be benefit there to refinance your client that has that 2.25% right now, but $60,000 in credit card debt when rates are 4 or 5%, because their credit card debt, those rates go up higher too. So it's constantly, it's being liquid, it's being able to adjust, and it's not taking that loser's mentality of, oh, I'm worried about where things are going to be tomorrow. No, you focus on right now. You do the best you can right now. And the funny thing about it is if you invest in yourself now today, then it takes $1 to make $3. You do that today, then tomorrow when those things start to roll out and really come into play, you don't have to worry about things that you control the controllables. None of us have control of where interest rates in the market is going to be. Control the controllables, wake up and really try to make yourself the best version of yourself each and every day.
I love it, man. That was powerful.
Thanks, bro.
That was great, man. That was inspiring, man. Like the branch you have now, I mean, it's just been since like March, like we're now in September and things are just shooting up for you. And I'm sure it's like from the foundation that you've built in like those years, like 2018, all that stuff, kind of just setting the foundation of the house that you have like now, that's like now ever expanding. So that's been amazing, man. I really do appreciate you. And I'm sure for the person out there watching right now, I'm sure they appreciate it as well. Like you being able to share what's worked for you, like not just like the mindset stuff, but the practical tools as well. So they can go out there and just implement this stuff and start seeing the results with that, man. So really appreciate you hopping on and so generous with your time and knowledge.
Thanks, man. And that's the thing. I think a lot of times as loan officers, we like to view each other as competition. I'm the kind of person, I look, don't get me wrong, I want to win, and I humbly say I'm going to win. But if I can help and put somebody in a better position and give them a piece of what got me to where I am, dude, that's more powerful than closing any loan that I've ever closed, because ultimately I'm somebody that likes to see people win. I'm somebody that does come from a humble background. So the beautiful thing about this industry, you hear it all the time. Before I got into mortgages, I interviewed it with a couple different industries, and you hear it time and time again. Oh, the sky's the limit, unlimited earning potential, blah, blah. No, man, that really is the case here. This is unlimited earning potential, but it's not for the faint of heart, and it's not for the excuse maker. You got to be willing to really grind and put in the work. But it is one that if you do that you make the right connections and you treat people right, the sky's the limit. So absolutely, it's my honor and my pleasure to give that piece.
Yeah, I love what you said too as well. Like, I think that definitely is another kind of limiting belief that people have about business, that it's like a zero-sum game. Like if one person gets something, like another person loses, when in reality, the people that win the most are the ones that create the most win-win relationships. Like the most benefit and value for everyone are the
Right.
ones that win the most. So yeah, very, very cool that you brought that up, man. And for that person out there who's, you know, wanting to network with you or just kind of learn more about what you got going on, like what would be the best way for them to reach out or get in contact with you?
Yeah, so I think you can, I hope you can see my phone number, all that good stuff on my thing. But if not, it's my personal cell phone number. You can reach out to me anytime, 314-250-0212. And then my email address, super easy. It's just my first initial, last name, Estes, DESTES at nexamortgage.com. And yeah, I welcome it. I would love to hear from anybody, and anything I can do to help position you into a better position, by all means, reach out. And I've got time for anybody trying to put themselves in a better position, for sure.
Love it. Thank you so much, man. And like for you watching out there, watching this video now, whether it's like a month from now or a year from now, stay tuned for the next video. We're going to be having other interviews like this with other loan officers and mortgage brokers that are crushing it as well, so you can have as much value as possible and really go out there and crush it and get more realtor referral partners, get more of those clear to closes, and just be able to get more of that financial freedom and just live a overall better life. So with that, we'll go ahead and end it. Dylan, thanks again, man. Really appreciate you.
Absolutely, brother. Appreciate you, man. Win the day.
Boom.